Well, I'm sorry I'm not going to be with you tonight, but really want to congratulate you on your 100th anniversary. BOMA Minneapolis has been a major contributor of ours for a long, long time. When we've needed help over the years, you've always been there for us. You've given us some wonderful leaders, John and Mary, of course, Ken Jensen, Sandy Hansen now, and of course Jerry Rowe and a host of others. Art Olafson, you've got a wonderful BA now in Kent Warden. Wish I could be there. But I do want to thank you. You're a group that we really count on, one that we appreciate, one we really enjoy working with, and have a wonderful evening.
Kelly's just a guy that gets things done. That's his real talent.
So John was a wonderful leader for us in the sense that he really reached out for the organization. He visited half of the local associations. He listened to what issues they were dealing with. He really brought our organization to life for them, particularly issues like terrorism insurance, where he did go to the White House for the signing of the legislation on that. What was going on with energy as we had the blackout during his term of office. What we were doing in terms of taxes in general, leasehold depreciation, capital gains, and all the rest. So John really brought our story to life, and he's got a wonderful style at the podium, reaches out to people, he's fun, just a wonderful representative for us.
John's been a very active member of Minneapolis BOMA, starting with a term as Secretary Treasurer, Vice President, President, head of numerous committees, and all-around cheerleader for the city of Minneapolis. At the national level, John was active on a number of committees and was instrumental in the restructuring of BOMA that occurred in the mid-90s, resulting in finally John being elected president and spending a year of visiting more locals than any president had.
John's kind of your classic leader. He's had one of every leadership position that we have, from President's Advisory Council to participating on our executive committee, to really taking on a hard assignment back in the early 90s, which is why he got his President's Award primarily, which was what we called our Federation Agreement Task Force, which was an attempt 12 years ago to remake the organization a little bit and define the services we were going to provide and how the local associations were going to participate with us. Throughout the years, he's always been at the decision table, helping us set where we want to go and setting the goals, and then we've been achieving them. John's been a tremendous player for us.
Kenny really cared about people, all right? He wasn't just out to make money. He was really a people person.
He'd always have time to say hello to you and to see how you were doing, and knew that you were going to be doing well.
I started with BOMA in 1985 with our convention in Boston, and one of the people that walked up to say hi to me and to welcome me to the staff was Ken Jensen from Minneapolis. And of course, I didn't know who he was because he never made a deal about who he was within the organization.
He was a short man, size-wise, but boy did he stand tall. And he carried himself very eloquently, very well dressed, and very sure of himself. And he was a very good speaker. And usually he got his way. He was tough, but he got his way because he was smart. but people liked him because of, he just demonstrated the ability to get the job done.
I never spent much on clothes. So Kenny called me in his office one day and did shut the door. He said, Lynn, you need to, Rick is twice as good looking as you are, dresses a lot nicer than you do. You need to spend some money on clothes. And I said, oh, Kenny, you know, it's really not in my budget to do that. And so I didn't do it. So about 2 weeks later, he said, you remember our little conversation a couple weeks ago? And I said, yeah. He said, what have you done about it? And he said, well, I haven't done much. So he gave me $500. 5 $100 bills. And they said, this is my personal money. It is not company money. I'm not being reimbursed, but don't come to work tomorrow until you look really nice and have a new pair of shoes and a new suit. So I went out and I spent his $500 and looked nice till the suit got worn out and the shoes got tattered. But
Getting the educational program going, getting the RPA program. I mean, he was just one of the leaders, clearly one of the leaders. And he enjoyed doing that kind of work.
Sandy's been involved with us at a lot of levels. Right now, she is chairman of our credentials committee. So in essence, she oversees the entire governance operation in terms of who's paid, who's got the votes, are we all set up for our major business meetings, and just a wonderful calming influence at the front of the audience. Love having Sandy there.
Sandy's highly regarded in the industry and specifically credited with her involvement in the Medical Building Special Interest Group and the efforts that she's put into that for not just the benefit of her and her organization, but to the benefit of all of us that serve that segment of our market.
So her fingerprints are all over for us suburban buildings. BOMA is half downtown and half suburban, and Sandy's been in charge and worked for years on the suburban half through our Suburban Buildings Committee as a vice chair and as a chair and a very active member. And we've developed some really good programming there. Also very active on our medical buildings area and has been for years. And in fact, medical for us is our fastest growing area right now with a new conference and all the rest. Sandy's been very much involved in that business, sharing the information across the U.S. and Canada, and helping us build that program into something that's very significant.
A lot of developers are focusing now on medical properties, and the development of this special interest group has provided a forum for participants or for practitioners in medical properties to have a place to go and a resource to share ideas, problems, issues, and find out what's the best approach to addressing those issues.
So she's played some very major roles for us. And does it in a nice style. You know, she participates. She never makes a big deal about herself at all, but she's a tremendous contributor, and we appreciate her a lot.
Jerry could get the job done. There was no two ways about it. If there's one word that goes along with M. Jerome Rowe, and I still haven't figured out what the initial M is all about, he would never tell me. is that he was a man of vision. He was willing to think out of the box. He was willing to take some risks, and the byproduct of everything that he did was certainly successful.
What did the M stand for? Oh, I know. I want to say Merrill, I think. He was a good mentor throughout my career as well, always encouraging me to, I joined one committee, I said, okay, Jerry, I'm done, I served my time, and they said, no, you got to get involved in another committee, and so I joined another committee and served on another committee, and finally I was elected to the board of directors for BOMA and served on the board, and Jerry was always encouraging me to stay involved, and you can get on the executive committee, and you could be the first female president. Yeah, right, Jerry, you know, there's never been a female president of BOMA, and you can do it. Just always very instrumental.
I can still see him walking down whatever street as I was viewing out of the hotel room at the last day of the International Convention. And yes, the back was stooped over a little bit more, and the gate was a little bit shorter, but I could sense on his face, we did it.
When we would go to the BOMA conventions, he would be involved in the Institute committees, again, putting Minneapolis, St. Paul on the map, if you will, on what we were doing here and what we would like to have seen completed in the BOMA International. He brought BOMA International here, so to speak, to really get people again involved, not only in Minneapolis, St. Paul, BOMA, but also worldwide.
My association with Ed Sulford goes back a little over 15 years, and I've had the delight and opportunity to work with Ed on a variety of projects, both retail and office related. He's just a dynamite individual. He carries a wealth of knowledge with him, and when you're working on a project with Ed, he guides you through it, he takes the lead, he's the advocate. And my recollection of Ed and working through him through the years, and I'm sure all the other people in this room will understand that Ed sets the pace.
He doesn't bring anything to the table that hasn't had some prior thought to it about what it means to the industry, what it means to the safety of the public. We appreciate that kind of attitude.
You know, he can remember back to the 60s and 70s about why that code was developed, or who was the father of that code, what was the intent of that code. And in some cases, that code or the intent may still be there, but times change, and buildings change, and ideas change. So he's able to take today's thinking and apply it to some of those older codes and get changes or get variances that are safe, that are equitable for all, and are approved by the city. And he's a master of just taking the problem, massaging it around, working with it, and coming out with a solution that's satisfactory for all the people that are involved.
Mr. Sullivan has been a participant in 3 of our advisory committees, helping us develop the codes for the state of Minnesota. His participation and dedication has helped us develop codes that provide a safe workplace for all Minnesotans.
So he brings a fresh look to the table. He makes you think. He asks you good questions about the project or what you're doing or how you're doing it. And he has a tendency to open everyone's eyes when it comes to different avenues or different opportunities or how you should look at something different. He's a delight to work with.
I think the future for BOMA is really bright, especially when you take a look at the up-and-coming individuals in our organization. We're focusing on individuals who are concentrating on bettering their education, their experience through a variety of different things, through pursuit of designations, through becoming active within the organizations that they're involved with from a business perspective, and finally from volunteering and being proactive, not just being a member of a committee, but being proactive, taking an active role. My best growth came from those situations where I was actually the right arm to one or two or more individuals, and they basically delegated, or I tried to take as much from them as I could, because that's really where my growth and my learning experience came from. And that really is what proved to be the good foundation to move me forward to the positions that I'm in today. The payoff for them is the ability to become engaged with individuals in our organization who have years and years of experience, and basically to tap their expertise, their knowledge. Becoming comfortable with who those individuals are. There's a bit of a hesitation on their part to just walk up to somebody and say, hey, will you tell me everything that you know? So instead, this is an opportunity, if they become active in a committee, to start working elbow to elbow with people that have a fair amount of experience, and through that, through the reality of that, they're really learning. And if someone has a particular specialized interest or pet area, if you will, no doubt BOMA has a committee that wants and needs them, and someone can feel very comfortable just going to whoever that committee chair is and expressing their desire, their interest, and my suspicion is they'd be received with open arms.